Hello, my friends, and welcome back.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of a fat activist saying, men don't want to be with me when they find out I'm a fat activist. We're also going to be taking a look at a couple of bonus clips, including one where somebody says, I'm tired of fat people defending fat phobia, and another one where somebody's complaining that the entire world was designed for thin people. Please be sure to check out a video I released over the weekend on my second channel about how Jack Doherty crashed his $200,000 McLaren because he was texting and driving while it was raining. Here's a link. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache. Caption at the top reads, my literal interactions with men who realize I'm a fashion brand who talks about fast fashion and fat liberation and not some fat girl they can get with.
Get out! Get out, Betty! Get out of my restaurant!
They tell you to get out?
Pay my bill.
Here's your bill. $4.16, pervert.
Okay, so when men find out that you talk about fat liberation and you're not someone they can just get with, they get very upset and tell you to leave.
Pervert! What do you call it, pervert?
Do they get mad because they can't get with you, or do they get mad and leave once you tell them you're a fat liberationist?
It's written on the bill.
Here's your $4.16, Bob. Best of luck. There's a million restaurants I can go
Then
to.
go to them all, Teddy!
Maybe getting with you isn't worth it if they have to get an earful about fat liberation afterwards. That's a pretty high price of admission, I would say. Like, yeah, you can get with me, but then you have to listen to my lecture about fat liberation. That's funny that's what she thinks the problem is. They're just upset because they can't get with me. The constant, very long lectures about fat liberation aren't driving people away at all. Next.
Fat creators of TikTok, are you tired?
Yes, all the excess adipose tissue is making me very tired.
Because I'm tired. I am tired of having to explain that yes, that is fat phobia.
Okay, you could stop explaining it then.
I'm tired of fat people defending the systems that keep them down.
Me too. Sick of fat people defending gravity.
I'm tired of saying things that are not at all controversial but being met with, yeah, you should lose weight. I am tired of thin people telling me that that's not fat phobia and comparing experiences like them not being able to get clothes that are exactly the right length to literally not being able to buy clothes in my size.
What? You're upset because they compare not being able to find clothes in their length to you not being able to find clothes in your size. You're right, it's not the same exact thing. Their height is genetic, unlike your weight. It's funny that you're trying to spin it around. You don't know how bad it is. Oh yeah, they have it worse. They can't change their height. Let's see that again. I'm tired of people telling me it's not fat phobia, and them not being able to get clothes that are the right length is the same as me not being able to find clothes in my size.
I am tired.
Well, you know, there are things that we can do to increase our energy levels, some of which might involve a proper diet and exercise, I've been told.
And I know I don't have to post here at all, I know, but it is exhausting.
Please stop saying everything is making you tired and everything is exhausting. There are just too many jokes to make and not enough time, okay? What time is it? We don't have time to be here all day for this, all right? Stop it.
When I am making a good faith argument, and I am saying there is a lack of equality, there is a lack of inclusion, I just want to be treated like everyone else. And the responses are so consistently in bad faith.
Okay, so you can't debate. If you're debating with somebody and you're like, my argument was in good faith, yours was in bad faith, that means you don't know how to debate. You start crying about the way that they chose to debate with you because you don't actually have a position to defend. This look on your face perfectly encapsulates your entire argument.
They are so consistently, deliberately misunderstanding what I am saying and making ridiculous arguments.
Well, you're the one that said it's not comparable for somebody to say, I can't find my size because I'm too tall, when that's genetic and we actually can't change it. So, once again, this look on your face perfectly encapsulates your argument.
that really have nothing to do with what I'm saying. Let's take my video from yesterday as an example where I talked about this headline where Alison Hammond is getting married, and they framed it as though the reason she was getting married was because she had lost a lot of weight. And I don't care about Alison Hammond and her boyfriend.
Lies.
And how young he is compared to her.
Okay, it sounds like you know who these people are, so you do care. I've never even heard of Alison Hammond and whatever the hell.
I do not care about the individual conversation that the two of them had about her weight. What I care about is a massive newspaper writing a headline that supports the rhetoric that fat people have to lose weight in order to be loved, to be happy, to be married.
Okay, so you're upset with some kind of tabloid headline or something?
Right? That is the problem. I do not think that that is a controversial take. I don't understand why so many people, thin and fat, will support the status quo even when it keeps them and the people around them down.
Is it really keeping anybody down because the tabloid was like, she lost weight so she could get married? Even if it was stupid and inaccurate, it's just a stupid tabloid. They get things wrong constantly, and they often put a moronic spin on literally everything.
I don't understand fat women supporting fat phobia and misogyny.
Okay, when did they do that?
Do not understand why everyone is supporting systems that are bad for everyone.
There's no system, bro. If you make yourself too large to fit into conventional clothes or to fit into conventional infrastructure, that's not because the system is trying to keep you down. It's because you outgrew the system that was already there. If you grew larger than the infrastructure around you, the only thing that has changed is you. The system ain't keeping you down. You are keeping you down.
Why do you want to live in such a hateful environment? I don't understand. And why do you want to be so hateful yourself?
What are you even talking about?
Whenever I observe this fat phobia, and since I joined TikTok, there has been a lot of it targeted directly at me, I do wonder exactly what the motivation is. And I can only imagine that for people, regardless of how tragic their lives may or may not be, as long as they are not fat, they know that they are superior to a whole group of people.
It sounds like you feel inferior to thinner people, and that's why you're going on this tirade right now. When you say, this one group of people thinks that they're superior to me, what I'm getting from that is that you feel inferior to this one group of people. That one group of people likely doesn't even know that you exist. Like we've seen many times on the series that I used to do called Ticked Off Thins Tuesdays. A bunch of people living in a larger body would basically project their insecurities and say that thin people hate us for this, this, and this. But their list of this, this, and this was just a list of their insecurities. Thin people hate that I eat what I want and I take up space. Translation, I'm very insecure about eating in public in front of other people and taking up more space than other people. I can assure you that when somebody is doing well in life, they're not noticing you at all. And in fact, the only people that will ever try to tear you down are people that are doing worse than you. You'll never find somebody that's doing better off than you trying to dunk on you and tear you down. They don't even know you exist.
And when someone fat comes along and they're like, I'd like the same thing as everyone else. And actually I'm happy and I'm not ashamed of my weight and I'm not trying to change it.
You want the same thing as everyone else. Okay, well, if everyone else fits into this infrastructure and you also want to fit into the infrastructure, then you need to do what everybody else did.
And I don't think that it means that I'm deserving of less. It's like that shakes their view of the world to the very core.
What does any of this even mean? What are you specifically talking about? Nothing.
They are so worried that there might be some kind of fat people uprising.
Really? Yep, we're afraid of the fat people uprising. Is this uprising gonna take place after 2 or 3 rocks to get up off this couch? Oh, you better get back, this uprising's about to start! And I'm not trying to be mean, but come on, let's not be silly here. The uprising? The number one thing preventing people living in a larger body from uprising? It's gravity.
And if we get treated the same as everyone else, they'll be at the bottom of the...
You do get treated the same as everybody else. And that's what you're complaining about. You want everything reformed to be bigger and specially made for people living in a larger body and all this other wacky crap.
Food chain. Now, if you are...
Hold on now, you're at the bottom of the food chain. If we get treated the same as everyone else,
at the
They'll be at the bottom of the food chain. And so you're saying larger people would be at the top of the food chain for the first time.
bottom of the food chain. Now, if you are a fat phobe, if you are thin, and you are telling me about your experiences and how, you know, one time you couldn't buy a petite dress, it's not the same. It's not equivalent.
Right, but you also told somebody that was tall and couldn't find their size that it's not the same, as in you have it worse, even though theirs is genetic.
Stop telling me about fat phobia when you haven't personally experienced it. And if you're a fat person and you were telling me that I am being too sensitive and that fat phobia isn't real, let's just lose weight.
Fat phobia isn't real. There's the intrusive R, let's hear it again.
And that fat phobia isn't real, let's just lose weight.
And that fat phobia isn't real, let's just lose weight. Because isn't starts with an I, which is a vowel, and fat phobia ends in an A. Intrusive R, let's hear it again.
And that fat phobia isn't real, let's just lose weight.
Well, fat phobia isn't real, I would like to say. Fat phobia is fat phobia's more moronic sounding cousin.
Then I feel really sorry for you because you have internalized so much of the hate that society shows you, and you are letting it spill back out at the people that understand you and
So you're saying if I want to turn my life around that I'm actually a fat person participating in fat phobia, okay?
should be part of a supportive community for you, not the enemy.
Well, if I want to lose weight, I'm not joining the enemy. I'm just trying to take control of my life. You know how obesity is unhealthy? I think you guys keep seeming to forget that. It's really weird.
Either way, let's stop making such a hateful environment for everyone. Let's stop hating people for ridiculous reasons. If we want to hate someone, let's hate the people that perpetuate the discriminatory rules of our society.
Let's not hate anyone. Let's just see that where we are in life is because of our own actions and stop trying to blame others and get them to change society for us.
Let's hate capitalism that kind of probably invented fat phobia.
Well, we don't have to partake in it to that degree, right? Just because they sell millions and millions and millions of pounds of highly processed cheap food doesn't mean we have to buy it, you know? Luckily, we have access to it. So occasionally we can have such a sweet treat or whatever, but that doesn't mean that we have to constantly eat all of this just because it's available.
Let's hate misogyny. Let's not hate fat people who are just trying to live their lives and maybe buy some clothes that fit them and maybe not be bullied and maybe have medical care and maybe be paid the same as their peers, right? Okay.
Okay, they do get paid the same as their peers. They get the same access to medical care as anybody else. And it was hilarious that you told that person, your struggles aren't as bad as mine. How dare you try to compare them when they were talking about being too tall for clothes, which is actually genetic. You're right, your struggles aren't the same as theirs. You can actually change your situation and they cannot. It's funny, you're all like, your situation isn't nearly as bad as mine. I did this to me, and I'm the only one who can fix it, unlike you. Wait a minute. Your situation isn't nearly as bad as mine, because it's genetic, and there's nothing you can do to change it, unlike my... Oh. And then they just have this epiphany. Wait a minute. That would be great. Next. All right, now this person's going to be responding to this comment that reads, can you please expand on what thin privilege is?
Everything in our society is defaulted to be designed for thin people.
Why would things be designed for obese people when they didn't exist 100 years ago when all of this stuff was created?
Think about clothing, think about the size of a chair. Anyone who's not thin is literally discriminated against at the doctor, on an airplane.
I can't imagine realizing that everything is designed for thin people and then not having the epiphany that I am the one that has grown larger than all of this stuff.
At clothing stores, we deem fat people to be so invaluable because capitalism...
If it weren't for capitalism, you wouldn't be able to be obese like this, my friend. So it's funny that you guys keep trying to dunk on it. Why are they always bringing up capitalism when you would not be able to be morbidly obese under any other system? Like those damn capitalists and their overindulgence. What? What are you talking about? I would say that this is one of the downsides to capitalism, that it allows us to overindulge in whatever the hell we want as long as it's profitable.
has deemed fat people as lazy, quote unquote unproductive. Thin people are not shamed for what they eat.
Neither are fat people. The doctor doesn't shame you, and if you don't fit into the infrastructure that people have been fitting into for thousands of years, it is you that has changed.
If you go to the doctor as a fat person, the doctor will immediately mark you off as someone who is susceptible to diabetes, heart disease, etc.
Right, and if you go to the doctor and you smoke, they're going to mark you down as somebody that's susceptible to lung cancer, COPD, emphysema. It's almost like medical science exists, and we've done studies on all these various topics. Although I'm not shocked that you're shocked after hearing all the stuff that you just said.
And equate your weight with health. That doesn't happen to thin people.
So you're saying a doctor doesn't warn thin people about the dangers of obesity because they're not obese? What? Yeah, duh.
At least not in the way that it does to fat people.
Okay, yeah, the doctor isn't going to warn me about my obesity if I'm not obese. You're right. All right, that last one was really stupid. It's really funny to hear people say everything was designed for thin people without them realizing that thin people designed all this stuff and obese people didn't exist 100 years ago. If I kept getting bigger and bigger with each passing year to where I didn't fit into seats or other infrastructure in society, I wouldn't go around demanding that they make everything bigger. I would ask myself, why do you keep getting bigger? As it turns out, obesity is incredibly unhealthy for you, so losing weight to fit into the infrastructure, if you were previously overweight, is also healthy. How about that? So what do you think of the clips that we just saw? Is it funny that men don't want to be with that person once they discover that they're a fat activist? Should fat people stop defending fat phobia? And why the hell is everything designed for thin people? Leave a comment below. Happy Monday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.